All right, what's up, guys? This is Jose from Fire Investments, and I'm here with James Bengala.
How's it going, everybody?
And so today, I just wanted to make a video about tenant representation or tenant rep. We get a lot of clients that call us, and they're usually kind of confused. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know anything about commercial space. They don't know how to lease commercial space. And I wanted to create this video just to clear up some misconceptions and educate the public, so they're prepared to work with us, us brokers, when they're looking for some commercial space. And it just makes I'm hoping this will make the process move so much more smoother and faster. So today I'm gonna interview James, and just so you can have him introduce himself and tell you a little bit more about tenant representation. So James, first, I want everybody to kind of know you, get to know you a little bit more, build some rapport, like all real estate agents do.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into San Diego, how long you've been here, sure, and how you got into San Diego commercial real estate.
Absolutely. So I started in property management years ago, probably 15 years ago. Did property management for 4 or 5 years and got a good feeling for kind of how the industry works, the players that are involved. And from there, I transitioned into the vacation rental industry for 4 or 5 years. Learned a lot of that, different animal altogether. But after those 10 years of property management and then the vacation rentals, I decided to leverage that experience, that information into commercial real estate. Yeah. So I got into commercial real estate in 2012, so 7 years now. And I started as a commercial property manager. So I managed 40 some plus commercial properties across San Diego County, office buildings, retail buildings, industrial buildings. I had some mixed use, which was retail and some living, some residential units as well. And I got to see really how these assets, these investments operate, the day-to-day, what goes on behind the scenes, when it comes to the budgeting, the forecasting, all the triple net reconciliations that go on annually. And then I got to lease them as well. So the leasing component for those 3 or 4 years was really what I enjoyed. And over time, it was great that I learned the property management side and the budgeting and all that. But what I was really attracted to was the brokerage side, the leasing.
Right.
So that's really how I got into it. And I haven't looked back since. That was 2013.
That's been a while. So compared to that other job, was that hourly when you were working in property management, or did you make a commission doing that stuff?
In the commercial property management? So that was, it was a base salary, which was nice, especially if you're getting started in commercial real estate. It provided a cushion for you, but at the same time, I was able to make commissions on the leases that I was putting together on the brokerage.
Yeah.
So that was a nice add-on. So I was getting a lot of experience, a lot of education. I had a nice little base salary plus commissions.
Nice.
But when I saw some of the other guys and girls in the industry, what they were making just doing the leasing, it kind of blew me away. So
it's a lot more attractive, maybe.
It was time to go that route. Yeah.
All right, cool. So next, I wanted to ask you, explain what tenant representation is, tenant rep. And maybe explain, all the players involved, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people involved when somebody rents a commercial space. So why don't you kind of explain a little bit?
Yeah. So tenant representation, for the better lack of terms, is when a commercial broker represents a business owner as they go out into the marketplace to lease a space for their business. It could be an office space, it could be a retail location, it could be a large industrial or manufacturing facility, it could just be a piece of raw land. But it's hiring a broker to represent you, the business owner, as you go out there and you're looking for these properties and you're submitting offers and you're trying to put a deal together. On the other side of the deal is obviously going to be the property owner, so the landlord, and then he or she or that group is going to have a listing broker who's going to be representing them. And one of the most valuable, I think, pieces to the equation when it comes to tenant representation and having business owners hire a broker to represent them is so many times the business owner goes direct to a listing broker.
Yeah.
right? The listing broker, his or her responsibility, number one goal and responsibility is to get the strongest, best, most attractive lease offer for his or her client, the landlord.
That's right.
So they're not looking out for your best interest as the business owner. They're
right.
looking out for their client's interest. So what you may convey to that listing broker as a business owner for him or her to pass on to the landlord may get kind of caught up in the communication chain,
Right.
and you may lose a lot of traction and credibility. And when you're asking for X, Y, and Z, the broker might only be pushing for you to get X.
That's right.
Because they want a deal to close sooner. So it's really important for business owners, and I hate using the scenario, think about going to court, and the other party has an attorney and you show up without an attorney.
Right.
But it kind of does drive home that point that you're going into this deal unrepresented.
Right.
And unless you've done a lot of commercial leases over your life, and most people haven't, then you're kind of going in unprepared, and you could leave a lot of money on the table.
That's right. And typically going in as just a regular business owner, you're not going to have access to all the tools and information that us brokers have, right? And so you're going into that situation almost blind, right?
Correct. So, and that's a great point. So there are some resources out there for the public to find different spaces and different properties that could work. But the commercial MLS is a whole nother animal by itself.
That's right.
That only commercial brokers that subscribe to it get access to. So residential brokers don't have access to it. The public doesn't have access to it. So you're getting, a tremendous amount of data and access to that data by hiring a broker.
That's right. Okay, and here, let me move this over a little bit. All right, that's a better. Okay, so going to the next question, why should someone use a tenant rep, and what are the benefits? I think you went over it a little bit, but I'd like you to elaborate a little more.
So number one, again, would be access to data.
Yeah.
Access to data is huge. There's not really a Zillow for the commercial industry. There's some fragmented software systems out there that allow you to see a little bit, but not nearly the full scope of what's available. So that's number one. Number two is, if you work with a seasoned broker who is an active commercial broker, they are going to get a lot of off-market listings across their desk, whether it's from other brokers in their office, or we have relationships with all the other brokers in the community. And just today, actually, I got an email from a buddy of mine who's a broker, and he's just putting a industrial building on the market for sale for $500,000.
Right.
But he hasn't put it on the market yet.
That's
but he said, hey, bring me a buyer.
Yeah.
So we get that all the time. And so that allows us to funnel that off-market inventory to our clients. So there's a tremendous amount of value there.
So that helps. So just for 1 second, before it goes on the market, before it goes on CoStar, LoopNet, all Craigslist or whatever, if you're being tenant repped as a small business owner, you might want to be the very few people that see that place, get access to that place, and bid on it before anybody else sees it. So that's a tremendous advantage, right?
Timing is huge. So if your broker is on it and working really hard for you, he or she is going to get you into a position where you're in a priority position to beat out other potential business owners that want that same space. So and we might be jumping ahead a little bit, but if your financials are ready to go and you can get an offer in immediately, it's very similar to buying a house.
That's right.
But if everything's ready to go, you can be first in line, and you won't lose the opportunity at a great space. You won't be in second or third or fourth place trying to submit an offer.
Right.
So a couple other tenant rep benefits. One is your time savings. As business owners, business operators, you are super, super busy running your business. You have a staff, you have marketing, you've got all the logistics that come into play when you run your business day to day, and you're doing it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's your bread and butter. You need to be profitable, so you need to be focused on that. The time savings component, I don't even know how you put a valuation on that. But if you were to go it alone, make the dozen or 24 phone calls you don't get a response from, send out the same amount of emails, maybe get a response, you're spending all this time and energy on something that's not a core competency of yours. Let a broker, myself, Jose, who are in the industry, let someone like us represent you to do all that work. You don't need to do that work. Let us do it, and we'll bring you results. And that's why that's a huge component as well.
Right.
And then I guess the last piece would be another benefit is it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost the business owner anything. So once the lease is buttoned up and it's all done, we get paid a commission from the property owner, the landlord. They already have a commission agreement in place with their listing broker. And then if they cooperate with another broker, a tenant rep broker, us, then we split the existing commission agreement in half.
That's right. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. They always think, okay, well, what's it going to cost us? It actually doesn't cost you anything. Right? And we put hours into finding places for a client, and it's actually for free for the tenant, right?
So and that's a good point too. So the hours that we spend on it is time that you're not spending on it.
That's right.
So whatever the savings, if there's a cost savings there for you, you're actually not only not spending money, but you're saving almost your time, which is money, by not spinning your wheels on something you're not good at. So.
Okay, so James, briefly, lay out the whole process from when a tenant's looking for a space to submitting the LOI, looking at spaces, then negotiations, and then closing the lease. So maybe briefly go through that whole process.
It can be a very lengthy process.
Yeah.
It really just depends on the market, the business owner's timing as well. But from start to finish, we always meet with our clients face to face. We get some FaceTime. We want to make sure that we see eye to eye going into what's going to be a relationship. It could be a 30-day relationship. It could be a 12-month relationship. But we spend some FaceTime together. We get to know each other. We ask you to hire us. We have you sign a tenant rep broker agreement, and it kind of outlines everything we've discussed. If you have any questions, we answer it. We get started day one searching inventory, reaching out to other brokers in the industry, and as soon as we have a handful of options, or maybe just 2 or 3 options that could work for you, we get those over to you immediately for your review. We set up tours immediately, and we tour 2, 3, 4 properties, whatever you need to see. Once you have 1 or 2 of those that you're really crazy about, we submit an offer immediately. We want to get an offer in quickly. We want to keep the momentum going on the deal and on the lease itself. Once the landlord receives that offer, they're going to take a look at it. They're going to review it. They're either going to accept it or counter it. And if they counter it, then we go back and forth. We come to a middle ground of what's going to work for everybody, because every real estate transaction, I believe, whether it's a lease, if it's a purchase, whatever it is, we're trying to make both parties winners at the end of the day. We want to cross the finish line together. So we're going to negotiate. We're going to negotiate hard on the business owner's behalf. Once a lease gets drawn up, you'll have a chance to review it. At the same time, we'll be submitting financials for the landlord's review. They want to make sure that you're financially stable and in a good position to take on this space, this lease agreement. And once everyone's happy, your financials check out, we've got a finalized lease draft that everyone's approved. We get those documents signed, security deposit is paid. You have to get a certificate of insurance, which you're already going to have in place for your business, but you're also going to have it cover the landlord. And that's a really simple 24-hour turnaround from your insurance company. And then you move in.
Nice.
You get keys and you move in. And this is all the simplified version.
Right.
If there is a long, let's say there's a TI, tenant improvement build out, then that could take another couple of months for the actual build out. But as far as the paperwork goes, that's the essential.
That's right. Yeah, and that's if things go smoothly. Usually, it gets a lot more complicated, a lot more loops, a lot more iterations.
Yeah.
So going on. Next, what would you say is your target market, and what's the typical client that you work with?
Yeah. Target market is going to be really any business owner who's looking to expand, grow their business, scale their business, or maybe relocate, or maybe they're looking for a second or third or fourth location. So really anyone who's in a good financial position, who is an established business. I mean, I work with startups as well.
Right.
And we've done a lot of deals with startups. Those are a little trickier, but we do them. But really the target market would be an established business who just needs a hand understanding the San Diego commercial leasing market and wanting to get a deal together quickly.
So how long do you think they should have been in business before, you think that you could work with them?
If a company is a year into business and their financials look great and they're growing and they're in an industry that is really moving in the right direction, then that's fine. I think this past year I did 3 or 4 leases with startups. And we just had to make sure that their financials look solid.
Right.
We want to minimize the risk for both parties, for the landlord and for our client as well. So we don't want to put them into something that's going to be too much. They don't want to bite off too much than they can chew. At the same time, the landlord doesn't want to be exposed to a tremendous amount of risk.
That's right. Okay. Yep. And then also for startups, typically we're going to want to see a business plan, something with what's your budget, what's where do you plan project your growth going to be in the next couple of years, because we just want to make sure one, you can afford the space and the space is going to fit for you and your goals here in the next couple of years, but also that you just have a plan that you didn't just wake up today and you're like, hey, I'm just going to decide, right? Yeah. So we need a little bit more than that. But we love startups. We've helped plenty of them find a space before. So James, maybe tell us about a couple of clients of yours, some tenants that you've put into some spaces. Give us some examples.
So recently, I've leased out a couple of different spaces to breweries, craft brewers here in San Diego, and that's a hot market.
Yeah, we're the craft brewery capital of the world, or wherever universe. That's right. Yeah.
So a couple of different breweries. We've negotiated some pretty strong leases, 5 and 10-year leases. A couple of different cafes, coffee. Really nice coffee businesses in San Diego. Had a couple of different online media groups. They're looking for creative office build out, creative office space. Yeah. And what's I guess it's the double-edged sword to the whole creative office build out is there's very little of that's just out there. And a lot of times there is a significant tenant improvement build out phase.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because we're taking older dated office space and we're taking all of the useful components out of it and we're stripping it down and making it look cool.
Right.
But so we've done a lot of those as well. And then I've done some retail boutiques recently, a couple of different contractors, some general contractors, some landscaping contractors, a couple of doctors' offices. So really the full gamut from retail space to high-end creative office space, big industrial buildings as well. And even some cannabis, legalized cannabis.
Right, that's right. Legalized. I was about to say.
And then also CBD.
Right.
Because those are two different animals. Anyone who's in that industry understands that. But there's the adult cannabis use, and then there's industrialized hemp, CBD, which fall under different categories. Some cities and municipalities allow one and not the other. Some allow both. Some allow neither. So that's another big component too. I think we didn't touch on as far as hiring a broker. They're able to look into the zoning for you.
That's right.
Understand the codes and allow you to be educated when you're moving forward.
That's right. Now, disclaimer: even though we can look it up and give you suggestions, it's up to you as a business owner to verify that with the city. We don't know your business as well as you do. So you're the one that actually verifies.
We will help you.
We'll help you,
but you need to dot your I's and cross your T's.
That's right. So moving on, what's some common mistakes that you see your clients doing sometimes?
I guess the two biggest common mistakes, one would be timing. Timing being that they're underestimating the length of what a leasing process can take.
Right.
They think that it's like signing a residential lease where
you're like 30 days, I'll be in a spot.
You submit an application, they run your credit, and in 3 days you're approved.
Right.
And then they get you keys as soon as it's usually much longer than that. So I see people and business owners not giving themselves a long enough window Because I mean, you can get a residential place and it'll work for a year, but if you're going to be committing to a commercial location,
That's right.
you want it to be the right spot for the right amount of time, and you don't want to take the first thing that's available if it's not right.
Right, absolutely.
So, give yourself 60 to 90 days minimum.
Right.
It's not going to be a 30-day process.
Especially when, the first, second, maybe third one might not work out for you the first time, right? So, I mean, you got to give yourself some time.
Yep. So timing, giving yourself enough time, that's huge. And then number 2 is having your financials in order, ready to go.
That's right.
It might sound like it can be a little daunting at first, but you have to do it. And if you're taking your business seriously, you will do it, because it means it's the make or break between you getting the right space for your business to then be extremely profitable versus getting the wrong place down the road because you missed the right place and making 50% of what you could have made being in the right location.
That's right.
So, and usually that's a personal financial statement. It's some tax returns, and then a snapshot of your liquidity, which would be a personal financial statement, and then maybe a balance sheet of your company.
Yeah.
And if you're not an established company, then we talked about having a business plan ready to go as well, and that can be a huge help.
Right. And most of the time when we first find a place for you, we start submitting LOI saying this is what we want to lease it for and for how long. The listing broker or the owner is going to want to see financials right then and there. They're not going to take you seriously if we don't send the financials with it most of the time.
If we submit an offer and they counter offer and we're pretty close to a deal, and then they ask for financials, and then it takes you 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to get them financials, the deal is done. They're moving on to the next person in line, the next business in line, and that's how quick it moves. So I can't really stress that enough, how important it is to have your financials.
That's right. So really quick, what are some things that clients do that maybe drive you crazy? I mean, we don't have another half hour to go through here.
I'll pick out one. The single biggest item that drives me crazy is when clients lowball an offer. And I think brokers in any industry, residential or commercial, can all relate to this. But the two of you are committing to working with each other. This is a relationship. You're both spending a lot of time and energy, nights on the phone, texting, weekends, whatever, free time, work, whatever. And then you get to the point where you have a really nice opportunity in front of you. And you're asking the person on the other side of the equation, let's say it's you, put yourself in their position. You're saying, I know you're asking $100 for this item. Would you take $40 for it?
Right.
So not only, you're looking for a deal, but you're sending the wrong message. You're sending the message that what they think they have isn't nearly worth what they think, and it is disrespectful to a certain point. So lowballing offers is my biggest. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Asking for a deal, asking for a discount, and you've got financials to back that, saying, "Hey, I'm an established business owner. I've got money. I'm you can check out my references, and I would like 10 to 15%, up to 20% off this lease rate." Isn't crazy. But then going 30%, 40% is out of control.
Right.
And we try to stress that. We try to educate our business owners and our clients on that, but it's that can be a moving target.
Right.
That can be a moving target.
Awesome, James. Well, so I think we're going to wrap it up right now. But James, why don't you tell people how they could reach you if they have any questions or want to just get in contact with you.
I've been waiting to use this.
There you go.
Marker the whole time, and I don't know if you can see. Okay, so
I'll make sure to put it down in the notes
first thing is
on
Instagram.
YouTube.
Okay, JB is my initial swell. JB Swell.
That's right.
Okay, phone number 760-208-8798. Can you see that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to put it down in the notes. If you want to contact James about commercial real estate, about investing, give him a shout out. And then you can reach out to me as well. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope we provided some value to you guys. Let me know in the show notes down here what kind of questions you have. Is there something we didn't cover? You know, share some of your knowledge if you're a broker. And you know, if you want to see more videos like this, you know, let us know. Let us know what we should be talking about. What are the questions you have about San Diego commercial real estate?
Well,
we love to help you help answer them.
And I think we've got some other videos that are coming down the pike, as they say, pretty soon. So. Yeah. And Jose's spearheading all this. So
that's right.
He's driving this, and we're just going to create content and try to add some value to everyone's day-to-day life, I guess.
Right on, right on. So this is Jose and James. Keep hustling, my friends, and we'll see you next time. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Nice. Dude, that went well.